What's up? Hope you had an incredible Labor Day weekend, had a good time at church on Sunday, and I've had a few people ask me about Sunday night's message. Those of you who were out of town or couldn't make it, some of you wanted to know, what in the world did we talk about on Sunday night? Did we record it? And unfortunately we didn't record it, but today I'm going to try to recap a little bit about what we talked about on Sunday night. But first, I probably need to get some gas or I'm not gonna make it to the office. Okay, so now the car is fueled up, I'm fueled up. Let's talk about Sunday night. Sometimes I come out here to Tom Sawyer Park just to kind of think and study and drink some coffee and talk about things or just think through things. And this Sunday we talked about subject to change. That was the name of the brand new series that we started. And obviously the entire series is about change. And so I talked about three things that are probably the biggest changes in my life. Number one was whenever my parents got divorced. I was 9 years old. They had been trying to work it out. They had been trying to fix things, and they just couldn't do it. And so, 9 years old, my world was my parents, and they rocked my world whenever they got divorced. The second big change that happened in my life was whenever I packed up everything to go away to college. I lived in Florida, and I went to college in Virginia. And that was like a decision that I made in maybe a week's time to finally pack up and go away to college. And the third major thing, major change in my life was whenever Janelle and I packed up everything we owned, sold it all, and got on a plane and moved to Mexico City. Now, all three of those things were ginormous changes, and life is full of those. And so there are a whole bunch of crazy things that actually happen whenever you go through major change. And some of those major things are that you feel out of control. You don't know what's going on. You're kind of afraid of the unknown. Like, I remember whenever my parents got divorced, I was so afraid. I had no idea what was happening. I had no idea what was gonna be the future. Same thing happened whenever whenever I moved to Mexico or whenever I moved to college. All of those things were kind of just like crazy changes that forced me into like unknown situations. But the point of Sunday was that things are changing all the time. Every time we turn around, there's a new change happening in our life. There's a new school, there are new friends, there are new neighborhoods, there's a new place to live. Lots of things are new and lots of things are changing. And we aren't the only ones who have to deal with change. The Israelites, remember them, people of God? Yeah, they had a ton of change happening for them. Remember back in the day in the Old Testament, they had 600 and something laws that they had to go through just in order to get to God. And they had kind of gotten used to those 600 and something laws. And they had gotten used to their way of relating to God. And so whenever Jesus came, those 600 and something laws kind of went away, and there was a new way to worship God, and there was a new way to follow Him. So Sunday we looked at a passage in the book of Hebrews that said, I will never leave you or forsake you. Sometimes whenever you're going through change, it feels like God has left or that God has changed. And the reality is that God doesn't change and that God doesn't leave you and me, even in the middle of all of those crazy changes that happen in our lives. Another verse we read was Hebrews 13:5 that says, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. That verse was God's way of saying, no matter what is changing in your life, my character doesn't change. I will always be the same. No matter what changes are happening, you can count on me being the same. So if God's character doesn't change, then that means that you and I can depend on Him no matter what's happening in our lives. I told the funny story about the teacups, and you'll have to ask your friends about the teacups because I'm going to give you a different illustration. Have you ever watched those dancers who do those crazy spins? Ballet dancers who do spins? Well, apparently they can spin because they do this thing called spotting. And when they spot, they keep their eyes focused on one specific area, one specific wall. And keeping their eyes on that wall helps them not get dizzy, like I just did. So if you and I, whenever change comes or crazy things are happening in our lives, if we can just remember that the character of God doesn't change, and we can remember how He has helped us through change in the past, then we can handle the change. So remember, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. And Jesus Christ will be there in the middle of every change. Thanks for watching. We'll see you this Sunday.